Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 18, text number 13. 14. Rishayo duduhur devim Indriyeshva atasaptama Vatsam brahaspatim kritva Payaschando mayam suchi. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All the great sages transformed Brahaspati into a calf and making the senses into a pot. They milked all kinds of Vedic knowledge to purify words, mind and hearing. Purport. Brahaspati is the priest of the heavenly planets. Vedic knowledge was received in logical order by the great sages through Brahaspati for the benefit of human society. So not only on this planet, but throughout the universes. In other words, Vedic knowledge is considered one of the necessities of human society, for human society. If human society remains satisfied simply by taking grains from the planet Earth, as well as other necessities of maintaining the body, society will not be sufficiently prosperous. Humanity must have food for the mind and ear, as well as for the purpose of vibration. As far as transcendental vibrations are concerned, the essence of all Vedic knowledge is Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In Kali Yuga, if this Vedic Mahamantra is chanted regularly and heard regularly in the devotional process of Shravanam Kirtanam, it will purify all societies and thus the humanity will be happy both materially and spiritually. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So the conversation continues. To solve the status quo, Maharaj Prithu, he desired to revive the performance of different kinds of yajnas. It is important to note that this solution for the suffering humanity without grains, as is the situation now, is not a conventional solution that anybody would think of. Normally, when there are gross problems, we think of gross solutions. If there is no rain, the modern scientist thinks in terms of creating artificial clouds. So, in this way, normal, even today, so many problems are there in this world, on the earth, and they only think in terms of, because if there is suffering, everybody wants solution. But they can only think in terms of conventional solution, because they do not have a holistic idea of how the earth works. How grains come, how rains come. So there is a subtler mechanism, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. After creating this world, he also prescribed yajnas so that various jivas as well as the demigods, they all take part in the holistic system. Only then there is peace, prosperity and happiness on this earth. So, today we see that is only devotees are peaceful. The outside world, there is no scope of being peaceful even. Except if they perform Sankirtana Yajna, if they perform Japa, anybody can experience this peace, happiness and prosperity. Because the world, the earth, life on the earth is designed by the Creator, the Supreme Lord, to run in a particular way in order to get the results that the humanity seeks. Just like if we buy a television, there will be an instruction manual. And as per that instruction manual, who's made the instruction manual? Instruction manual is made by the creator, designer and creator of the television, the manufacturer. So the manufacturer, when he gives a manual, if you follow the manual, that is the way to take maximum out of the television or any gadget. Extend the same analogy to this earth, but include subtle activities also, not only gross. Our material body itself is composed of 5 Pancha Mahabhutas and 3 Sukshma Bhutas. Manas, Buddhi, Ahankara, Bhumirapo Nalavayu, Kammanor Buddhirevacha. So, the system that we are talking about is not simply a Panchabhuta system. Whether there is success at the gross level, enough grain is there, enough medicines are there, herbs are there, these are all gross. Whether there it is all something else is behind it which is subtle also, which today the modern leaders who are blind to these laws, they go on trying to manipulate things at a gross level to solve the problems of life. Just like you see, simply if 2 people decide, the Russia-Ukraine war can stop. 2 people decide. Decide means what? Their mind, solution is in the mind. Solution is in the subtle thing. Not that one becomes stronger and attacks the other more, then he will surrender. What if the mind says, we are so patriotic, we don't care, kill us all, but we will not give up? Okay, mind. So obvious it is that solution to all problems are not just gross. If you see here, Maharaj Prithu is solving the problem in a holistic manner. Most important thing is he started the process of Shravanam and Kirtanam, the great sages transformed Brahaspati into a calf and making the senses into a pot, their senses. They milked all kinds of Vedic knowledge to purify words, mind and hearing. In other words, they received knowledge from Brahaspati through their senses, chanting, hearing, serving, everything. And by this way they purify the words, mind and hearing. So, as Prabhupada is explaining here, in any case the world is ignorant of the Vedic solutions to the problems on this earth. And the problems on this earth are because we are not operating this earth according to operation manual. The operation manual is a Vedas, is a Vedic knowledge that tells us what an individual should do, what a king should do, what a Brahmana should do, Kshatriya should do, Vaishya should do, what he should not do, what he should not do. All these do's and don'ts and the reasons behind that. That is also there. Just like in the television, you have got a knob, put on and off. You have got a knob to increase the volume. You want to increase the volume, you turn the knob of switch on and off. Will the volume increase? Will it increase? No. This knob is for switching on and off. This is for volume. So knowledge is required. If I want volume, I have to turn this. This is in the manual. Similarly, when there is no grain on the earth, what is the knob that you should turn? You should perform yajna. And it is king's duty to engage. See, one of the things if you see in all traditions and all our historical kings described in Bhagavatam, every Puranas, they are always engaged in performing yajna. Why it is so? In our present understanding, we don't understand. Looks like a waste of time. Chanting mantras, yajna is a waste of time. But we see only a gross earth. But Mother Earth has got personality. Everything has got personalities. So if you don't take into account the reality itself as consisting of gross and subtle, then where is the question of modern scientists, thinkers, finding a solution to the problem on earth? So, Prabhupada says here that if human society remains satisfied simply by taking grains from planet Earth, as well as their necessities for maintaining the body, society will not be sufficiently prosperous. Because these are all gross activities. Humanity must have food for mind and ear, as well as for purpose of vibration. As far as transcendental vibration is concerned, the essence of Vedic knowledge is Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In Kali Yuga, if this Vedic Mahamantra is chanted regularly and heard regularly by the devotion process of Shravanam and Kirtanam, It will purify all societies, and thus the humanity will be happy both materially and spiritually. So these are very important secrets which are given, even not given, even beyond the normal knowledge. Therefore, Prabhupada calls it as transcendental process. When the normal system collapses, the machinery is misused. When it collapses, still there is hope, Prabhupada says. Still there is hope. For that, the Supreme Lord, designer of this entire existence, earth, and the systems herein, he has to intervene. Just like Prithu Maharaj, as an incarnation, has intervened. When they intervene, then because of their omnipotency, just like now, Kalikale Namarupa Krishna Avatara, Krishna has intervened onto this earthly affairs. He's intervening into the earthly affairs as a sound incarnation. So, solution to all problems on the earth is in worshipping, respecting, honoring, and serving the sound incarnation of the Lord. Miraculously, all material and spiritual prosperity will happen, as Prabhupada says. Regularly in the devotion process of Shravanam and Kirtanam, it will purify all societies, and thus humanity will be happy both materially and spiritually. Just like we see, we are not simply talking theory. Prabhupada has practically shown how life centered around the deities, life centered around chanting and hearing in devotional service, brings all prosperity. Everyone is satisfied, happy. Some little, some more. That depends on how the person is. How happy you want to be in the temple is left to you. If you are in Prabhupada's house, how happy you are depends on you also understanding the powerful processes of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mandam, Dasyam, the 9 processes of devotion service. How we engage our body and mind and intelligence in the devotional process. Accordingly, we will see that all problem-creating items called anarthas will be pushed out, and transcendental knowledge will shine in the heart of a devotee. And only by that process, only by transcendental knowledge, one can be mentally happy also. Even in his mind, if you want to be happy, satisfied, he has to be in a higher guna, sattva guna. So these are all material effects which automatically come by chanting the holy names, especially, as Prabhupada says, the Mahamantra. Prabhupada says, if this Vedic Mahamantra is chanted regularly and heard regularly by devotion process of Shravanam and Kirtanam, it will purify all. Something else Prabhupada is saying about the vibration. Humanity must have food for mind and ear, as well as for purpose of vibration. What is this? As well as for purpose of vibration. What is this? All problems are created by vibrations, all solutions are coming from vibrations. Vibration is the subtlest cause for everything on this earth. What to speak of transcendental vibration? It brings transcendental. Vibration means what? Sound. Sound means what? Knowledge. Whether I speak in English or Sanskrit or any language, behind it there is a vibration. Behind it there is a vibration. Vibration is, you see, suppose you know 2-3 languages, and all 3 persons are coming and speaking to you in individual languages. Actually, you won't even be aware of, conscious of, oh, he is speaking in Hindi, he is speaking in English. What will you be receiving? The vibration. Vibration means the concept, the idea. Idea is communicated through sound. So idea, in other words, everything starts with idea. A spiritual idea. If you want spiritual consciousness in the society, you need spiritual knowledge, spiritual ideas. Just like you see, the root of all ignorance is an idea. What is that idea? I am this body. It's an idea. You are not the body, no. You are not the body. We are not the body. But it is an idea. I am the body. So on that idea, the whole world is running. That idea may be ignorant or it may be knowledge. So in other words, anything we want to change, as spiritualists, as sadhakas, we all know, and we should know, we should tackle things at the idea level. You want to remove some bad habits, go to the idea level. And idea is expressed in the form of narratives. Narratives, stories. We all have our life story, correct? Once you say, I am the body, if I tell your life story, you will tell. Tell your life story, So everybody has a story. Correct? So when you say your story, you are thinking I am the body. So if you ask me my story, I will tell Madhu Pandit Dasa's story. Madhu Pandit Das, the anchor itself is a body. The root, the seed of my world is, I am this body, I am this identity, pleasure, happiness, etc. for mine. So the whole world is working very hard for a wrong idea that I am the body. So each of us have our own internal world. That internal world is our story inside. It is only story. Truth is something else. It's a Maya story. Everybody in the world is living a Maya story about himself. That is why at the time of death, the bubble breaks, story breaks. Story is over. At least it's over for you. Some others may write a book and biography and all that. For you it is over, story is over. No connection at all. No connection at all. So when we come to spiritual master, by his mercy, this seed of the center of the story, I am the body, it changes to I am the servant of Krishna. I am an eternal servant of Krishna. The actual real story is what? I am not this body, but I am a spiritual body. But right now you cannot get that spiritual body because your consciousness has to change. So right now the only definition that you can replace I am this body is I am an eternal servant of Krishna. That means you're defining the soul functionally. And then when self-realization comes, I am my spiritual body, I am a gopa or a gopi or a cow or a dust or a tree or a whatever it is in the spiritual world, my constitutionally, whatever I am. So what the point I am making is, or point that Srila Prabhupada is making here is that, only one line he says here, as well as for the purpose of vibration. There has to be talk about spiritual knowledge everywhere. That is a vibration. And that is what Srila Prabhupada's book says, and that is what Prabhupada's book is about, vibration. Therefore, Prabhupada says, distribute book, distribute book, distribute book, the world will change, world will change, world will change, world will change. If we want to change the world, we have to flood the world with Prabhupada's knowledge. Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports, the transcendental knowledge, Bhagavad Gita as it is. So, yesterday I was hearing one story, real story. About how the day Prabhupada put his lotus feet in the American soil, the world was saved. You have to hear? This is a real story. In those days, 1960s, post Second World War, there was a Cold War between Russia and USSR and US. So it seems that Russia planned to send missiles on October 14th. To destroy simultaneously about 10 cities in US. So this story is told by one of the commanders of the US Army, USSR Army. So he was telling how the entire USSR, they planned, organized, created the team, level 1, level 2, command. Finally, the final command has to go, they just have to press the button. Boom, the missiles will go. So all that thing was, this commander who was there, he was part of all this. So they would get clearance. Okay, go next level. Yes, everything is set. Confirm. Go next level. Everything is ready. Next, confirm. Like this, they would go. And final, last command is there. Go. Tuck. These buttons will be pressed and missile will go and finish 10 cities in US. Because Cold War, America was also planning like that, to send missiles into USSR. So it had all ready, just then it so happened that it was to be launched on October 14th. And for some reason, though they reached up to that level of command, order came from the president to the Russian army, to USSR, to the commanders, withdraw. So they are about to press the button on that day, withdraw. So the war did not happen. War did not happen. That happened to be the same day Prabhupada landed on the US soil. Because he is carrying the yajna of all yajnas to be inaugurated there, world over, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It brought some good sense into somebody, simply one pure devotee wishing to go and, just land there. So much punya the world got. So somehow or the other, this person, this commander, he got, Prabhupada's biography. He was reading. Then he saw October 14th. Hey, this is the day, because he cannot forget that date, because for them it's all like, high tense, cannot forget that October 14th for him. He saw October 14th, Prabhupada landed. Then he called that one devotee, one relative of him who gave him this book. And he narrated this whole story. That the world would have finished. So how, you see, we do not know Lord is controlling the earthly affairs. We don't see that. Krishna is within and without. So everything that is happening, the Lord is in control, especially in the matter of devotees preaching Krishna consciousness. All our effort, we have to understand, is if we spread the spiritual ideas, that means we have to talk. Maya has talked her ideas into our head, that we are this body, and body pleasure is my pleasure, body happiness is my happiness, body identity is name and fame is my name and fame. All lies. All lies. How do you counter a lie? By telling the truth. So we have to tell ourselves the truth. And that is what happens. Now you are all hearing, no? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Nityam, Bhagavat, Sevaya. We are hearing the truth. The truth will evaporate the lie. Truth is like light. Lie is like darkness. So when you hear Bhagavatam, when you hear Krishna Katha, when you read Prabhupada's books, darkness will go. Light will come. Enlightenment will come. What is what you will see. Dark means you don't see what is what. You see something else. Light means, oh, we see everything. So Prabhupada's books gives us Om Ajnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Guru with the torch of knowledge removes the ignorance in the disciples' hearts. So that is the meaning of saying that this vibration, the world to flourish, to prosper, to be happy, society will not be sufficiently prosperous if it only maintains the body. Humanity must have food for the mind and ear. Shravanam Kirtanam. What Shravanam and Kirtanam? Even now Shravanam and Kirtanam is going on. The world cannot exist without Shravanam and Kirtanam. If you see one of the small books of Prabhupada, I remember early, even now I can't forget that particular 2-3 pages before becoming a devotee. When I read, Prabhupada was saying, everything is coming from the sound. He said, if you have to build a skyscraper, somebody has to talk, somebody has to get idea, speak, where to get the materials from, how to combine the materials. It's all about talk. The world is full of Shravanam and Kirtanam. World cannot exist without Shravanam and Kirtanam. But they are doing wrong Shravanam and Kirtanam. Shravanam and Kirtanam, what is it that we are doing? We stopped all this nonsense Shravanam Kirtanam. Gramikata. Even devotees, newspaper, Shravanam, what is it? Just have to know the little headline, what is going on in this world, because we are preaching. If you are not preaching, if you have no connection with the outside world, you can throw that in the dustbin. We do not hear the world's Shravanam and Kirtanam. Every day morning it comes. Come on, hear Shravanam. Sadhana. Maya sadhana. Just like we chant 16 rounds, these people have to sit 1 hour and read the newspaper. You cannot stop because you need Shravanam and vibration is required. You need to hear. But what we do, just see what is our life, how our life have changed. We are chanting and hearing Chinmaya Shabda. These are all Chinmaya Shabda, means there is consciousness in it. It's a consciousness sound. The sound in this material world is a material sound. A material sound does not have consciousness. A spiritual sound is coming from consciousness. So Krishna's words, Guru's words, Vyasadev's words, they are all manifestations of the person's knowledge. So what a treasure we have to solve the problems of life is to spread Krishna consciousness. At least you see how much now we have all become devotees. If we had not become devotees, we'd be there outside. That means we are also adding to the problem. So we, by coming into Shravanam and Kirtanam, Krishna consciousness, we have stopped creating problem for the world. Correct? That means we are, just by us coming into Krishna consciousness, we have relieved the world a lot. At least from our burden. Otherwise we will be doing Shravanam Kirtanam of Maya. Maya Shravanam Kirtanam will be doing. Everybody goes for a job, no, every day. What does it do? Most of the time they are talking and hearing. Somebody is talking, somebody is hearing. Talking, hearing, talking. What is the goal of that? What is the purpose of that? That may be to produce a software, that may be to produce to increase the sales of a car or this thing, something. It's all talk. So we should know this secret that if we have to make quick advancement without wasting time, we should be absorbed in vibration. Always either talking within ourselves, repeating what Prabhupada said, or you are talking to yourself, your own understanding, how you have understood this. Talk. A sadhaka is always talking inside or hearing. He's either talking, either he is doing shravanam or kirtana. Just like Prabhupada said, you read, then you write in your own words what you read. That is kirtanam. So either you write or you at least keep talking. So we come out of this perception of, if you're always hearing and chanting and hearing, and that too if you're chanting and hearing the spiritual knowledge, it transcends you, such a sadhaka transcends tamoguna. Because of tamoguna only we are in the bodily concept of life. Any questions?
Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, like a question that during our initiation, when we get a name, a spiritual identity, like Raghunandan Priyadas, some Vishnu Murti Das, like whatever name we get, so is this not our real, is this correlated with our spiritual identity? If one gets the name of Raghunandan Priyadas, so is it sure that he will go to Ayodhya after liberation, or can he go to Vrindavan also after liberation?
No. The purpose of this spiritual name make you forget your old name. It is not the name of your Swarupa. Because you have centered around your story, around your old name. Not only you get the name, everybody else calls you a different name, then you will scratch your head. Oh, I am this, I am not that. So that many things are connected to that old name. Your old life, everything is connected to your name. Suddenly that name is gone and now you have got a spiritual name. So you can consider that as a spiritual exercise. Therefore a name has to be changed. Diksha time, name changes. And in a sense you can say, for this life you can say, you see, just like a blind disciple, a disciple who is blind materially, means eyes are, he will get a name Kanjalochana Das. But his eyes, I know, he's actually physically blind. Can he get a name Kanjalochana Das?
Yes.
He can, right? So like that, these names have no relationship with our body, neither with our body or our nature. Not the spiritual master is thinking, what is his nature? According to his nature, let me find a name. No. Name has no connection with your nature. Sattva Das. He must be most tamasic. Maybe he was given the Sattva Das by Krishna's arrangements so that he'll come out of his tamasic nature. Because he has identified so much with tamoguna. Now you got a sattva. Oh, I have to be sattvic. My name is Sattva. So these names have no relevance, eternal relevance. But it has got a very deep functional value. Because we have to die. My old bodily concept, you die then only your real self will come out. Your spiritual world will begin, your spiritual life will begin when your old self dies in your mind. And here, not only in your mind, socially also, you are called differently by different persons. So you have a new life centered around the new name. Near question.
Prabhu, so can we say that it is spiritualizing our ego? Giving this new name is spiritualizing our ego.
Or?
Our ego, our identification, ego.
Your identity.
So can we say that we are spiritualizing our ego?
Because all names that we give here are ending in Das and Devi Dasi. Correct? So our identity is a servant of Krishna. So that Das also reminds us that we are servant of Krishna. So to that degree, our original identity, in a generic sense, what kind of a servant you are, you will get after realization. What kind of servant, eternal, what kind of servant you are, you will get later. But now itself to say that I am servant of Krishna is your constitutional nature. It is your identity. Focus of that identity you don't get now. Functional identity you get, as I told you. What kind? Your exact identity you will get only when you see your spiritual body, when you realize your spiritual body, which is in a seed form, that has to open up in a spiritual atmosphere. It cannot open up in this atmosphere. It is in another dimension. That spiritual body is in another dimension, spiritual dimension. And that is Satchidananda Vigraha. These are all duplicate bodies. We have got a yantra, we don't have a body actually. The bodies in the spiritual world are not yantras. We got yantras here. Yantras are replacing the spiritual bodies, and we all think that this is spiritual body. That is why we think I am this, I am that, I am male, all. Why do we think all these rasas, everything? Unless you get an identity of a person, then there is no, each of us have different individual identities based on the body, and that based on that male, female, child, parent, all rasas are there because you identify with the body. So it's a generic identity we have, spiritual identity, in order to remind us that and to make you forget the other one. Therefore, old name you forget, plus you get a new name with a Das. So your spiritual generic identity is that I am servant of Krishna. From that day onwards, you should say, I am servant of Krishna in everything that I do, everything that I say, everything think, feel, will. I will think, feel, and will act, do, desire, everything only as a servant of Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, before I was belonging to Jain community, Jainism, Jain community.
Jain,
yes. And sometime I am being chastised. My family members, they are telling that what kind of bhakti you are doing, because they have seen that Jain sadhus and sadhvis, they are very austere, and they do sadhana very strictly. They fast, like the way they fast we cannot imagine. And whenever they fall sick, they don't go to doctor, they don't take medicine and all this.
Correct.
And as soon as we fall sick, we rush to the doctor and all these things. So sometime I am being chastised by my family members and relatives that what kind of surrender you are doing. So sometime I also feel...
No austerity, nothing. Achhi tarah khata hai.
Yes. So sometimes I also feel that our surrender is less than their surrender. So how do we understand this properly?
The difference is they don't have Krishna in their sadhana. Our sadhana, see, if Krishna is there in the sadhana, everywhere you see our sadhana, eat only Krishna prasadam. Because Krishna is there, the only austerity is eat only Krishna Prasada, but eat nicely. Huh? Like that, everything that you take, you chant mantras, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is Krishna himself. They will chant some man-created concept that as a mantra, converted into mantra. Krishna is not there. So, their austerities, if you were to get detached from the body, goal is clear. Up to that level, Jainism and ours and Buddhism and Mayavadism are all same. Everybody has to cross, I am not this body. I am spirit. Everybody has to cross, otherwise it is not spiritual life. So Jains have a spiritual life to come out of the bodily concept. So, to come out of the bodily concept, they have to do all these tapasyas. Because Krishna is not there to help them to shine that realization in 1 second. But for us, Krishna is there with us, holy name is there with us. Very quickly we start realizing the difference between the matter and spirit. This is the first lesson in all spiritual paths, to awaken the difference between matter and spirit. Because two things are there in this body. Jainism, what they think about, when I separate what that spirit is, they have one idea. Buddhist, when I separate what that spirit is, a separate idea. Mayavadis, after separate the spirit, they have another idea. None of these paths have the concept of a supreme spirit. The Vaishnava philosophy says, I realize I am not this body, I am spirit, but there is a supreme spirit. And then there is life beyond, devotion, service, all those things. For them it ends there. Perfection of life for each of them is to separate body and spirit. But we separate body and spirit also for a purpose, because this is a false body. Unless I separate this, I cannot awaken my real body by the mercy of Krishna. So we have a positive life. We believe in a positive life of Vaikuntha life. Variegatedness. There is real male, there is real female, there is real child, there is real parent, there is real mountains, there are real trees, there are real rivers. Everything there is. This is a reflection of that. But all other schools of thought, nothing beyond this matter exists. No variegatedness exists. That is why they are called Mayavadis. That means Krishna's Rupa also, they say it is Maya. Rupa, Nama, Guna, Leela means Maya. They don't have idea of a positive Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, Sharira, all those things. Grandaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Vishwa Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.